YouTube Nation, Archie here with another video of a short story I'm in the middle of writing. What the hell happened to my mustache? Oh shit, no. Anyways, I'm writing a short story right now called The Villisca Warrior. Villisca is an old Indian word. I believe it was for insane Indians that were buried throughout Villisca, Iowa. The Western Indians, they were called. Insane they were. But I wanted to write this story because a couple weeks ago, and what has been going on lately on the news about goddamn kids and teachers that keep touching children. You know, I am tired of hearing about fucking child molesters. You know, even if they go to jail or even get treatment, they still end up going back on the street or doing it again. You know, if they get life, whoop-de-doo. And, you know, for them to be able to roam the earth as level 3 sex offenders, I don't even care if you're level 1. You better have a good goddamn reason of why you were hopped into any kind of situation like this. Whether it be framed, set up, or something just of the ordinary. You better have a good damn excuse. Because in my eyes, I don't believe none of you motherfuckers deserve justice. Now, if it was me, of course, people that know me will know I'd come out with something like this. My story. If you don't know me, you're gonna know me now. I did write a story about a year ago. That was a new evil. People want to take claims of the devil, tell them to do it, the devil made me do it. We're all about a new evil of someone that takes that devil in you and destroys it. I think in my eyes, the justice system towards pedophiles is twisted. Or towards child murderers is twisted. Some people walk. Some people rape and get away with it and walk. What I should say that happens, punishment is what you did to the victim. Or what I have written down here. Now, the reason why I want to intro this story and talk about it, because it does have some graphic stuff, and I put in the stuff, of course, because you can't be cutting corners. Sometimes you gotta put in description. But I also did enough description that wouldn't make too much of a controversy, but enough that where it wouldn't turn my stomach, which it did turn my stomach. But as much as I can handle of what I put in the story. Believe me, my own story turned my stomach, but what powers me and motivates me to write stories like this is due to the fact that these sickos are out here. Due to the fact when stuff gets swept under the carpet and the description is not in a story, sometimes people just, don't sound serious as it seems. And guess what? Maybe if you put a little detail in a story, like my A New Evil and now the Villisca Warrior. In this story, I am just flat, blunt, pouring out with. And I, in the end, will be very proud of this story and my sick, twisted, warped mind. Which, yeah, watching this world grow with me as a child up till now is why I have this sick, twisted, warped mind. But this in this story, also in my other one, but more towards this one. No, I'd love to see this happen all day. All day. Just had an Amber Alert happen. Reading some details in it, and the uncle there was trying to say he's trying to save his niece's life, but yet he's in the Walmart buying her clothes and bikinis at that, and hiding her in a secluded wooded area, and helping her, huh? I don't know. That was just enough for me to say, you sick, and he didn't look that normal either, you know. Sometimes the looks do matter. Because if they can't get, you know, a relationship, they're going to think, due to their looks, they go to the next best thing of, you know, someone that will just look at them as a playful toy, some type thing, but it's just sick. And this story here is truly what I want to see what happened to child molesters. And this is going to be a 3 or maybe even a 4-part story. I don't know yet. I'm not done with it, but I got enough to do my part 1 of the Villisca Warrior. Like I say, I get a little detailed in this, but it's only because that, like I say, it has to be known, and for the people that just don't listen to the news of the little things or details that are not there. I think if someone will get the details in their mind, which like the Castro House of Horror, the details poured out of that, but yet when that poor girl was in there and, you know, she was like a nobody because her name wasn't put up. No one, everybody, you know, thought of her being this or that, you know, a runaway or whatever she was. And it was just, what the No, it's sick. It's sick. And in jail, I can tell you one thing. Molesters don't get better. Only because I went to jail in 2002. And while I was in there, I noticed a building off from mine building. And I was asking my roommate, what's that building over there? And he says, ha, funny you should ask. It's a child molester building. I said, oh. Now I've heard the stories about, right, child molesters are not allowed in population. So of course, they'll get their fucking... That's what should happen. Like Jared. Subway. You know, I had some, you know, like some, you know, props up to that guy for what he did. Lost all that weight. Started a kid and got family, you know, with 2 kids. It's like, wow. Guy got fat. Guy changed his life. Damn, you know, I had some good words for that guy up until, hey, oh, child pornography. Like, what? Just like everybody else. What the fuck? Here's a man that makes it rich and he wants to throw it all away for fucking child porn. Oh, boy. Now, if this story ever was to come true, which I think it should, personally, Not only does it have detail of stuff that, these sickos would do, but it gets good in the end, I can tell you. And I guarantee, no child should live with this in their memory. No child should live through this nightmare. No child should ever experience that type of behavior on them. Touching them, feeling them, blah, 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 blah. That's what I think. A nightmare should be set up down the road. A little place of horror. A little place of insanity. A little place that dwells in the back of everybody's mind of, what if this happened? And what if I was here? And what should I do in this scenario of case of something? I'll tell you, by the time I get done reading this story, you might think it sucks, whatever. Or you might just say, love to see this happen. Would love nothing more. So let's get into this story here of the Villisca Warrior. And it is June 2055. As Detective Peter, or Pete, Justin, sat at his desk and the piles of folders stacked up as child molesters continued to roam the earth. But lately he started to notice the slow disappearance of these predators. Some would be gone, never to be seen. Others would be found dead of possible suicide, as others were being monitored, but their bracelet would also disappear. The captain was starting to hear it from the commissioner. Then Pete got it one day of what the fuck is going on. These cocksuckers are disappearing and you have not been keeping up with any of them. Now I have to get another person on this, as the chief spoke. And I hate to start back at the beginning. Pete, in a daze, and just didn't care anymore, and was fed up with all these pieces of shits getting off of what they'd done. Some not seeing no jail time. Then he did the unbelievable of giving the captain a taste of his own medicine. Now you listen here, you slimy piece of cock. I've been on these cases for 3 years, and most of these dickwads are back on the street in a year. I'm doing my fucking best to put them where they belong. Then the fucking courts let them out. Do you hear what you're yelling about? You dumb son of a bitch. What the fuck? Chief. Okay. Take a few days off. Go home. Relax. Do something. Take your mind off things. Then when you get back, we'll start fresh with the new guy. Well, fuck the new guy. Because when I do get back, I'll be coming up with some new ideas to put these motherfuckers away for good. Pete stormed out. The new guy arrived. And the chief rolled his eyes when Dan began his shift into the high gear. Let's solve this case attitude, clapped his hands, and opening files. About an hour went by, the chief never looking up from his desk because of the new guy's walk, and said, "What can I help you with?" "Well, I just need updates on how these perverts just come up missing." The chief looked up and said, "Well, maybe they are getting clever in this day and age, or some sick fuck just don't like 'em. And something happens, well, we can't just go on with something happens. These are people too." "Well, then get your ass out of my office," as the chief screams, "and begin to search for these dumb sons of bitches. To me, it's a waste of my time." Well, something needs to be done. Lives should be not looked over due to anyone's behavior. A good percentage of these people change with the proper help, you know. As the chief stared at this guy with daggers, he then stood up to say, "Are you fucking serious? I know in my lifetime I've seen maybe 1 or 2 out of 1,000 get better after touching some kid. But that ain't enough to heal the minds of them surviving kids. They have to live in endless fucking nightmare or live in a box underground for the rest of their lives. And what about their families and what they go through? So don't come in here in my office with this fucking gung-ho, I'm gonna save the fucking world today, and interrupt my paperwork for missing fucking perverts. Get out and start up searching of missing sewer shits of the world while I worry about missing kids." As Dan left the room, the chief shook his head and said, "You upbeat think I'm gonna save the fucking world, meat stick, dildo with fucking ears? I'm so great." 2 a.m. Nibby called his friend, Joel, and told him about this new hotspot on the outskirts of town. Some abandoned building got some young, fresh meat. "Oh, baby, we can meet up with this guy if you're ready. Let's go." As they came to an empty parking lot, a limo was waiting. Joel said this must be a real treat. As they drove off, the driver began to talk. "So what you guys like to do?" Nibby began with how he liked young, tight virgin girls, 10, 11 years old. Joel liked 7, 8-year-old boys. They were rambling on how they both got off with time in jail and never registered as sex offenders. "Well," the driver, "that's why this place was open. So well-deserved men like you will never get caught of doing what you love." The 2 men giggled with glee. They could feel their erection of the manhoods grow with deep, dark pleasure. They arrived at their sexual destination. Their eyes bugged out of their heads. Their sexual fantasies went through the roof of the car. Both looked as they were in heaven as the car pulled into the front door. The sounds of children filled the air of dirty desires that ran through the 2 heads of the men getting ready for the night of pleasure. The chief was rantic of where the hell is Pete. Dan was waiting a day later till Pete finally showed up, meeting the new officer and briefing what was going on with the predators and why they were coming up missing. Dan did make a point of what if they are out there stalking their prey, but yet no new cases of missing children have been reported. Months went by. Dan and Pete were still coming up empty-handed. Pete took a well-deserved vacay for the 2 weeks. Dan was frustrated because him and Pete were getting nowhere. Now a vacation? What next? Throughout the 2 weeks of Pete's vacay, Dan picked up 5 more missing pervs as he went to the chief to ask what should he do. The chief said, "Hey, at least children are not missing." Dan shook his head, walked to his desk, just staring at the crimes at hand. He left the office to get Pete to go to Pete's house to go over some new stuff he found. He did not care if it was vacay time. One day will not hurt. When he got to Pete's house, he was pissed to find Pete not there. "Great," he said, and hit the door with the side of his hand. The door opened. He peeked around the corner, calling out Pete's name. No answer. As Dan walked around, his eyes bugged out of his head. The American Indian Heritage sat like a historical society building. Everything Indian. You could imagine. Books even. Headdress of chief warriors. Bows and arrows. Hatchets. Stuff you would see on an Indian reservation. But the most disturbing thing was the one book of the Villisca tribe. Chief Red River traveled all the United States and Canada. No tribe nor white man could stop them. And the reason 'cause they did not stop. When it come to fighting, had more tricks and techniques than all the enemies put together. The fear was growing and everyone was running out of ideas to stop them. They were the living ghost that would disappear, nowhere to be found. They would summon the dead of evil while in battle. And what made these Indians different than all the rest? The power to rise the dead. Then he came across a picture of a shaman. The cold face and stare sent shivers up Dan's back. Dan didn't know, but this was Red River's brother. The two were the most feared of the U.S. back in the day. And Dan was in a trance. Images of an old movie he saw as a kid. Indians dancing around a fire with terrifying painted faces. And music that he once erased from his head because he had nightmares for months. Dan felt he couldn't breathe. He felt temporary insanity from the images. He finally pulled his hair and screamed and ran out of Pete's apartment. Fuck! 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 Got into his car and peeled out. Drove to his house, turned the TV on, jumped into a cold shower, pulling and punching his head. Fuck! And that's part one of the Villisca Warrior. Like I say, there is some details in there later and there in the beginning, but I tell you, stuff like that makes me sick. And it's stuff like that makes these stories run madly through my head and want to write. And it's stuff like this that makes me wish one day that this stuff will happen. Enough is enough. And all these children shouldn't be living these nightmares. Don't worry, by the end of the story, I'm sure you'll have a little cheer for yourself. Because what I have in my mind for these kind of people, if I was the one to be doing this, and if I could get away with it, oh, I'd be having a motherfucking field day with it. Yay! Give me a hatchet. That's right. Give me my Indian war headband. Be out there to you perverts, showing you what it's really like to live a true nightmare. Anyways, hopefully you people like the first half of this. If not, thank you anyways. Watch for part 2. And I also like to mention that if you have to listen to this story again, because turn the light out, relax yourself in a chair, sit back for part 2. Because once you hit the place of madness that I've wrote about, I'm sure you too would want to be there after the story ends. Until the next video, there are many more to come. YouTube Nation, out.